Welcome to SOS Media, your number one source of the latest news, opinions, and in-depth investigations that dig deeper into today's developing stories around the globe. I can confidently tell you that R. Kelly's lead attorney Jennifer Bonjean has a well-laid-out strategy and approach that will see R. Kelly leave prison soon. If you had a chance to peep into her notebook and summary notes today as we head for the appeal hearings, you would keep wondering about what the government was thinking of during the R. Kelly New York trial. It was completely an absolute mess. One of our media reporter fortunately stole a look onto a rough notes, and I will share with you what caught my attention, and that now makes me believe that the appeal process is just going to be a formality because surely, by the look of things, R. Kelly has already started his long-awaited walk to freedom. Let me kindly tell you this. According to government, R. Kelly was the leader of a criminal enterprise, but surprisingly the only person named in the indictment was R. Kelly himself. The government couldn't even distinguish between R. Kelly and the alleged enterprise and thus lacks evidence to indict any other member of an alleged enterprise. And we now wonder whether the alleged RICO enterprise ever existed. It was all strongly stated from the beginning that the RICO prosecution against R. Kelly involved suspects. It has today turned out that these suspects are nowhere, and the government was unable to prove that R. Kelly was different from his alleged enterprise. It is therefore clear that the government was violating his rights, and the trial attempted to depict R. Kelly as both a leader of a criminal clique and the only person directing its operations. It's like saying that one person can be a fighter in an army, and more so like saying that people can get in touch with themselves. This completely does not make sense at all. We should sadly remember that the Assistant U.S. Attorney Maria Cruz Melendez, during her opening submission, alleged that R. Kelly wasn't operating the enterprise alone but rather with other members of his inner circle. These are members who even to date have never been identified. We thus can confidently conclude that, by the realization of the fact that no other members of the so-called enterprise were named in the indictment, is a red flag confirming that the government's case was fabricated on shaky grounds, and it now equates to a violation of R. Kelly's rights. Now here lies the real shocker. The appeal is exposing the government's insidious tactic of indicting R. Kelly over RICO as a way to avoid the statute of limitations. It's like acknowledging everything in court just to keep the case thriving. And now here is a head-scratcher for you. It has turned out that the public prosecutors had been caught bringing up all sorts of non-accused wrongdoings or bad acts in court. That meant that people, among them his former staff who were not involved in the case, were put to the stands to confess against R. Kelly. And let's be real, having people testify against you who weren't even part of the case is pretty shady. The government's intended tactics only intended to make R. Kelly look bad in the eyes of the jurors. Besides, to be honest, it is rather questionable to have people testify against you and yet they were never even involved in the case. One that wonders how R. Kelly was supposed to defend himself against the allegations, which are even not part of the formal charge. The unrelenting Bonjean will be looking for answers to these questions from the government very soon. Folks, let us now look at some of the other unbelievable situations concerning the R. Kelly New York appeal. Bonjean unearthed the fact that the government had gone ahead with prosecuting R. Kelly under a law repealed, and thus convicting R. Kelly under a law that no longer existed. The California Public Health Code that the government contends R. Kelly violated was repealed by the California legislature, and was out of use at the time of his prosecution. The actual health code the prosecution claimed he violated had already been gotten rid of by the time they charged him, but they unfortunately still went ahead with the prosecution. Bonjean has also claimed at least 4 of the jurors publicized the fact that they prejudged R. Kelly's guilt before officially submitting their verdict. Bonjean further says that at least 2 of the jurors had prior watched Surviving R. Kelly, the hot-headed 2019 documentary which gave voice to his alleged victims. Bonjean and team argue those characters should never have been placed on the jury. R. Kelly and his attorney Jennifer Bonjean also took issue with evidence that was allowed to be seen by the jurors, arguing that what ended up making it into court damaged his ability to receive a fair trial. Using a repealed law against R. Kelly is a very clear violation of his constitutional rights. The government is supposed to follow the law and use only the laws that are enforced at any particular point in time. The challenge remains of whether we should accept that the government charged R. Kelly with a law that was non-existent and then keep quiet. I don't think so, and neither does Bonjean. We obviously will be looking for answers to the shaky RICO charges and the invalid health code charge. The government looks like it has all along been struggling to have everything fit into their interests. Unfortunate for them is the fact that Bonjean already knows that too. R. Kelly was not given any breathing space because government had predetermined to have him in jail at any cost. The use of a repealed law against R. Kelly demonstrates that the government was willing to use any means necessary to secure a verdict. We can all clearly see that this is a clear manifestation of abuse of power by the government, and yet still R. Kelly is distinctly the only person in the United States history to be charged with violating these public health laws, without actually proof of infecting the alleged accusers with an infectious disease. What further raises our eyebrows is the fact that the two federal charges in Brooklyn, New York and those in Chicago were not combined. This is a rare scenario, but it was unfortunately seen as the preferred choice when it came to R. Kelly. To date, no one from the federal government has tried to give an explanation as to why this choice was looked at as the most appropriate for R. Kelly. Bonjean has also now secured enough evidence to show that some parents of the alleged R. Kelly victims acted like conduits, linking their daughters to R. Kelly for financial reasons. It was further established that on most occasions, the very parents encouraged their daughters to lie about their ages. Bonjean has this also well documented in her nutcracking summary notes. Jennifer is also equally very unhappy and finds it shocking as to why the prosecutors upgraded charges against R. Kelly from misconduct to a federal offense, yet knowing that he didn't infect any of the accusers with an infectious disease. Despite all these lies and unfortunate misinterpretations of the United States laws, we still appreciate the fact that R. Kelly rose from poverty in Chicago to become one of the world's biggest R&B stars. Well known for his smash hit I Believe I Can Fly and for songs such as Bump and Grind, R. Kelly sold millions and millions of albums even after unclear allegations against him began circulating publicly. In the 1990s, those who have critically scrutinized R. Kelly's trials can confidently agree that justice was not served to expectation. I am very optimistic that these issues will be reviewed in detail during the hearing of his appeal processes. R. Kelly still enjoys support from his fan base and family, and with Bonjean's proactiveness and admirable knowledge of the law, all we can do is to keep confident that the appeal will be in R. Kelly's favor. If R. Kelly and his legal team is expected win his federal convictions, it will also help the public to regain some trust in the United States judicial system. Nonetheless, for every passing day the truth is always coming to light, and who knows, the king of R&B Robert Sylvester Kelly could walk to freedom sooner than one had ever imagined. Thank you for watching today's video brought to you by SOS Media. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our videos. Also remember to leave your comment about today's topic in the comment section below.